very blunt with you in today's broadcast because I think what's going on in society really calls for it. And here it is. If I was in charge of the United States of America, in charge of this country, President Lisa, and I wanted to destroy our country, then I would do everything that Joe Biden's administration and the Democrat Party have been doing. I would do exactly that. If I didn't want us to exist anymore, if I wanted us to fail, if I wanted us to follow the mindset of the World Economic Forum into the path of the Great Reset, which is nothing but a communist hellhole, then I would do what Biden is doing. Obviously, if I was president, I wouldn't do that at all. However, there's really no other way to see this unless they're just that ignorant. But I can't for the life of me shake off the fact that many Democrats are that ignorant. I mean, I think there are some pretty smart Democrats out there, right? So the question therein lies, what exactly is he doing to destroy this country and where are we headed? Well, in today's broadcast, I have 8 separate things that I want to show you that really detail how they are destroying our country. And it's just going to kind of hit home. But I really want you thinking about the same question. And then I also want you to think of what we can do to make our country better and to stop such things from happening. Obviously, there's a lot that we can do from the ballot box, but there's more that we can do at the local levels and in our communities because we have to start changing the mindset of our children in our schools, getting involved there in order to make an impact in the future. But before I dive into this, check out my sponsor, noblegoldinvestments.com. If you guys haven't talked with them yet and you don't have a 401k, or even if you don't have a Roth IRA, maybe you want to convert your 401k, give them a call right now and let them know that you're looking into diversifying your profile. Look, Noble Gold are the people that I trust and the only ones that I trust. And that's why I personally have partnered with them. And right now they are giving away this 3-ounce silver coin with any approved plan. But give them a call or go to noblegoldinvestments.com and let them know you heard it from Lisa Haven. All right. So let's dive into the 8 points of how I believe the Biden administration is destroying our country and the Democrats. And before I get into the 8 points, I also want to say that there are a lot more than these 8 points, but I think I just skimmed the top of these 8 or I guess I'm taking the top 8 points that definitely, I believe, signify that. Well, for starters, number 1, if I wanted to destroy our country from within, because a lot of people believe that one of the main ways to destroy a country, at least if you look back on how Rome was destroyed, then that would be that we would destroy ourselves from within. In order to do that, you have to attack our resources, things that make our economy function. So number 1, you would have to attack the economy. And you could do that, right, by going after oil and fossil fuels, eliminating them, getting rid of them and depleting our resources. So number 1, attack oil and fossil fuels, deplete our resources. How has the Biden administration done that? I know we could think of a lot of ways off the top of your head, but as a quick reminder, here we have CNBC. Biden suspends oil and gas leasing in slew of executive orders on climate change. He did a lot of this on his very first day in office. Here's another one. Institute for Energy Research, Biden canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. Then we also have WashingtonPost.com. Biden administration suspends oil and gas leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. He also, on FoxBusiness.com, Biden's budget would get rid of fossil fuel tax breaks in a move that experts say could discourage investment and cost jobs. And that's exactly what it has done. This is why we have massive prices right now in gas and oil. It's not of course, Russia had something to do with that, but the Biden administration lit the fire well before Russia, and we were skyrocketing on those prices prior to. Then we also have Biden. He tapped our very precious petroleum reserves. And this is on Yahoo News. Biden taps the strategic petroleum reserves. So he tapped into something that is vital to our country. Here in the United States of America, we need that in case there is an emergency, but he tapped into it simply because of the fact that our prices were going up. But rather than giving all those reserves to the American people, he started selling our reserves to international foreign bodies like China. Take a look. DailyMail.com. Joe Biden sold nearly 1 million oil barrels from emergency reserves to state-owned Chinese gas giant that Hunter, his son's private equity firm, had a $1.7 billion stake in. So you would not only deplete the reserves, right? You would sell it to China, sell it to other countries. And what would this do to our reserves? Well, now, check out this article on Reuters. Our petroleum reserves have now dropped to the lowest level since 1987. We have a very little bit left because he decided to just give it away. Why would you do that? Unless you're ignorant or hell-bent on destroying the country. And then one last article I want to share here is New York Post. Biden is now resulted to praising the high gas prices as part of his incredible transition. So if you're happy about all these things that you have done, seeing that you're really ripping apart the American people, he openly admits that it's part of an incredible transition. The question is, a transition to what? Well, he also answers that in his administration clearly by saying he wants to go on the green agenda movement side, aka Agenda 2030, aka Great Reset. They keep renaming it in order to accomplish their agenda because it gets a negative name and they change it, gets negative connotations and they change it. And he's very open about it and they really have no remorse. This is why I believe we're on that path. And they're saying this is all in the name of saving the planet. And I'm really going to be touching on this in the next day or so as well. Friday, putting out a big report on this as well. It's going to kind of expand on all of this. But you don't save the planet in the name of killing off multiple portions of humanity by getting rid of our valuable resources. If people can't get energy or gas or these kinds of things, and you get winters that are crazy or summers that are really hot, or you can't make it to certain areas because your health or whatever, you're sick, you can't drive, this is going to affect a lot of people. Number 2, so attack oil and fossil fuels. First thing I do. Second thing, spend trillions of dollars to increase inflation. Let's just put inflation out there. And how has the Biden administration done that? More than, I believe, a majority of the presidents in our history, right? Here's CNBC article. Biden signed a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill into law, unlocking funds for transportation, broadband, and utilities. Just $1 trillion more. CNN, Biden, this came on the heels of this. Biden also signed, prior to that, a historic $1.9 trillion COVID relief law bill. And then, of course, recently he tried to do this. I guess it's still in the process because they're reviewing it in court. But CNBC, Biden's student loan forgiveness plan could cost $379 billion over 30 years. So let's just, on top of the $3 trillion we spent already, now, I'm missing trillions of other stuff, but he wants to spend $379 billion over 30 years for money that we don't have. We don't have it, especially right now. So again, that's number 2. Number 3, what else would I do? Well, I would open up the borders. I would allow anyone and everyone in to the country. And obviously, he's let in quite a few. Here we have Breitbart.com. 5.5 million illegal immigrants have been encountered since Biden took office. 5.5 million. By the way, illegal immigrant soars under Biden to 3rd highest number in 97 years. This was as of 2021. I'm wondering if the statistics on that are a lot higher. What happens when you have mass flux of immigrants come in? Well, Americans don't get as many jobs. Many have been laid off. Many have been let go. Crime starts skyrocketing. Fentanyl, drugs, everything comes on the border because they're not properly vetting these people. There's too many for them to vet and go through. And they're doing this catch and just letting them go catch and release. And so we're turning more into a communist style regime, right? And so the Biden administration promises handouts to these illegals, and in return they get their vote. And that's how easy it is. And this is really destroying our country because they know a majority of Americans aren't going to vote for straight up communist, socialized policies. So you want to bring people in who are going to vote for that. And that's why if I were trying to destroy the country, I would open the border, just as Biden has done. Number 4, I would redefine crime, right? Let's make laws that make crime not so bad. But hey, let's twist it a little bit. I would go with the more Robin Hood mentality. We've all watched Robin Hood: steal from the rich, give to the poor, steal from the rich, give to the poor. They needed it, they're suffering mentality. This has always been a socialist style mentality. And while it sounds good on the surface, you have to remember what the repercussions of that end up being. And what it ends up being is all your prices go up. If things are stolen and taken from, say, your Walgreens and your Walmarts, now they have other products that they have to raise to meet the demand of what's being stolen. Hopefully, I've stated that where that makes sense. But now we literally have DAs and entire cities rewriting laws saying, hey, you can steal up to $1,000. No questions asked. Oh, maybe a pat on the hand and maybe just, it's not going to be a felony. Maybe a misdemeanor. Take a look, right? NewYorkPost.com. Mobs of looters are grabbing goods in California thanks to a downgraded shoplifting law. They're downgrading laws because Robin Hood mentality. Go take it from those Walgreens and Walmarts and those Louis Vuittons and all of them. Then we also have, this is on Private Officer Magazine, Chicago Attorney General stops prosecuting shoplifters who steal less than $1,000 worth of goods. Hey, go take your $1,000 worth of goods. This is why looting and crime has exploded. Not only that, but George Soros, a radical leftist, has been implanting and funding these DAs all over the country, right? Here we have Soros-funded DAs abetting crime wave. They're adding to it, chosengenerationradio.com. Then we have Fox News. Crime experts respond to Soros defending support for progressive DAs amid crime wave disaster. We have crime rampant right now in our country, and I believe it's going to get worse because there hasn't really been much of a change other than Republicans taking the House. But definitely the progressive leftists and Democrats are pushing this new mindset. Go take it. It's like Robin Hood, and they're not prosecuting where they need to. And what happens in that state, again, is if you take from those department stores, they've got to pass it on to everybody else, and everything goes up. All right, number 5. What's the 5th thing that I would do? Well, I wouldn't want, Americans talking to each other and getting along to go against me. So if I want to destroy America, I would sow as much division as I could possibly sow. Let's pin blacks on whites, Christians against Muslims, Muslims against Jews, whites against, Indians against fill in the blank. Let's do religion against non-religion, atheism against Christianity, homosexuality against heterosexuality. Let's just pick your battle here. I would do everything to sow that division and make Americans hate each other. So they're so busy fighting amongst themselves that they don't even really realize what's going on. Now, I could show you about 50 to 100 to 1,000, probably 1,000 articles now of how that division is being sown. But I think that's pretty obvious that that's exactly what's going on. It's become about politics, which side you're on politically, and that's it. You're either for me or you're against me, and don't talk to me anymore. I know many of you have lost many friends. They have introduced all kinds of things in society, one of those being reparations, right? Speaking of reparations, you may not have heard of this. Newsweek, California reparations could see Newsom give Black Americans $223,000 each if they have slave ancestors. They didn't have to be a slave. Their ancestors did. Here's $223,000, kind of a housing alliance of sort. What kind of division could something like that cause in our country? Right? That's what I would do. And really, there's a ton of stuff on that. I think there's no questions on that. Number 6, I would also erase history Get rid of monuments, get rid of certain names of buildings and streets so you don't recall or remember. And I would change the curriculum to make it more about slavery and race baiting to cause that division, right? Because 5 and 6 kind of go together. And I would implement critical race theory that teaches that America is evil and has racist roots. That's what I would do. Okay. So for example here, let me show you some articles I think that really hit home here for what the Biden administration has done. Right here, foxnews.com, Biden administration education panel stacked with critical race theory supporting activists, GOP senators say. Then we also have Fox News, critical race theory related ideas found in mandatory programs at 58, that's over 50%. Of the top 100 United States medical schools. No joke. Then on top of critical race theory that teaches our children and our college people to hate America, on top of that, I would destroy any and all history as much as I could, right? And here's some of the history that has been destroyed over the Biden administration. Biden Department of Interior has moved to remove derogatory names from federal land. Let's just get rid of those more freedom kind of names, Washington, Lincoln, anything with a derogatory name, which includes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of names according to them, right? Then we also have this on Smithsonian as well. And it says, U.S. will rename 660 mountains, rivers, and more to remove racist words identified with them. No joke. 660 mountains, rivers, all of it. Why would you do that? How dare we remember the names of our founding fathers that were all about freedom? And by the way, these weren't old men when they signed the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence, right? It would also start vandalizing much of our history. Let's just forget about that. The Daily Signal, vandalizing American history, a list of 113 toppled, defaced, or removed statues. That's as of 2020. So I'd get rid of history. You know what else I'd do? I'd butcher the First Amendment, completely and utterly butchered it. And how would I do that? Well, I would make sure that I control the press, the mainstream media. I would also, which we know, the Biden administration, this is obvious. I could, again, show you 1,000 on this one. I'm just going to kind of talk on this one because I think all of us realize that. But I would butcher the First Amendment by controlling the media, which we know 90% of the mainstream media, I would hearken 95%, are pro-liberal leftist media. And they only give negative coverage of conservatism, Republican, and positive coverage on everybody else. And anytime that there's anything negative about their side, they still blame it on the Republicans, saying Republicans pounce, Republicans go after, that kind of thing, right? So I would control the media, but not tell the American people. I would also go after social media to control what's said and what is posted and what is not posted on there. That's why they're so mad that Twitter was acquired by Elon Musk, and he's going to have a long battle ahead of him, by the way. But we already know this is happening by the Biden administration. I did articles on this the other day. I don't want to go back, but the FBI has been shown to have colluded with Facebook, with Twitter, with all these social media sites. In fact, they were having weekly meetings up to the 2020 election with Twitter on certain information, they're so-called Russia hacks, that they don't want the information out. So we have the FBI colluding with mainstream media, the Biden team colluding with social media, all of this going on. And so we have an epic collusion. And so a complete obliteration of our First Amendment via free press. We don't have free press anymore here in the United States. Then I would label anything I don't like hate speech. Or misinformation or disinformation. If I don't like that particular story, well, that's disinformation. It's a conspiracy theory. It's hate speech. Let's go after it. That's the seventh thing that I would do. And the eighth thing that I would do, and keep in mind, there would be more, but this would be like hours long. But the eighth thing that I would do is I would demonize half of the country, completely demonize them, right? I would call my opposition un-American. I would call them insurrectionists. I would call them terrorists. I would say that they're a threat to democracy. In fact, that's exactly what the Biden administration has been doing intensely this past couple of years, if you will. Here we have Pelosi started it off before Biden was in office. Pelosi labels Republicans as enemies of the state, says they are domestic enemies of our voting system. And that was back, by the way, in 2020, maybe, right before. Then we also have Biden calls Trump and MAGA Republicans a threat to our democracy. He has said that, by the way, not once, not twice, but multiple times, of how we are a threat to democracy. Then we also have MSNBC Joy Reid riles up conservatives after she claims U.S. religious right, dreams of a Taliban-like theocracy. We have ABC, Homeland Security warns of increasing but modest threat from Trump people. Now, I can go at least an hour of reports on that and how they are doing that. But the truth of the matter is, he is vilifying half of the country. You're semi-fascist. You're un-American. You're insurrectionists. And I would implement one system for them and another system for my people. I would also mobilize the federal departments that I have, like the FBI, the DOJ, and the Homeland Security, to go after my political dissent people, those who I don't like, and ignore those on the other side, kind of like the Biden administration has weaponized the FBI. Done lots of reports on that. I won't repeat that. But he has literally weaponized the FBI, the Department of Justice, and Homeland Security. And he's attempting to do that via the IRS, which I believe we'll hear more about that soon once the 87,000 new agents arrive. And just like the IRS scandal under Obama, where 95% of those that were audited, the businesses and whatnot, were majority conservative, right? The entire thing got blown up and exposed. And don't worry, they issued an apology for that. But now we're getting 87,000 more agents, just another agency that the Biden administration can weaponize to go after his political opposition. So again, if I really wanted to destroy America, I would be doing everything that Joe Biden has done. That's why I don't think Biden really wants this information out. He's doing it. He's quiet about it. He's silent about it on one side. And now they're not really being silent anymore, but he'll be open and he tells you to your face a straight up lie that this is all to save democracy. It's all for the betterment of humanity. It's all to save the world and globe. And we're going to usher in heaven on earth. Sounds very antichrist-ish. Biden is not the antichrist. I don't believe that. However, could be one of many. There's just really no other way I see it. Number one, attack fossil fuels, spend trillions of dollars to open the borders, 3, redefine crime, Robin Hood style, 4, sow division, 5, erase history, 6, butcher the First Amendment, 7, and of course, demonize half the country. Whew, lots of stuff. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. Please don't forget to check out restrictiverepublic.com. We've got an amazing special going on. Use the coupon code FOREVER50. You can get it for $50 for as long as you have it, per year, using that coupon code FOREVER50. But I've got some huge reports that I'm going to be putting up in these next couple of days. So you really want to go to restrictiverepublic.com and check it out. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.